Tomb Raider finally arrives on the Switch, and today I'm happy to bring you a performance preview of the original trilogy running on the hardware. Now, I'm sure many of you have a lot of questions about the experience. It's really what I'm going to be trying to answer. My name's Alex, this is SwitchCorner, and today I'm going to be running you through the first level of each of the 3 games and really just breaking down what I see. Let's get into it. So Tomb Raider tells the story of Lara Croft, and I have a lot of nostalgia for these games. In fact, when my family got their first ever PC, it came with this game, and getting the chance to visit it on the Switch was definitely a pleasure. Definitely also been a long time coming. Now in the first game, we are hired to find an artifact by a businesswoman before things go south. In the second, we're searching for a dagger, and then in the third, we are out to recover 3 pieces of a meteorite. Now I don't want to dwell on the story for too long, but they all lead to the same thing, a globe-trotting adventure with combat becoming more prominent as the series progressed. So let's talk about the ports, and first of all, the cutscenes have not been recreated. They are instead upscaled to a certain degree, but they definitely show their age, which it has a certain charm for someone like me who experienced them back in the day, but they can be pretty jarring compared to that new visual style in-game. Now, should you be looking for the original visual style in gameplay, a quick tap of the plus button will actually switch back immediately to this, but it's seen a necessary upscaling. I actually still think it looks quite good personally, and I did find myself jumping pretty frequently between the two. I will, however, put some dedicated clips at the end of this video so you can see more for yourself side by side. When it comes to these new visuals though, the overall, I think the game looks stunning. The character model looks good, but they've retained everything as you remember it. I think when you do an HD upgrade like this, it needs to feel the same. If it's almost how you remember the game, they've not gone too far, and that's exactly how I felt here, which I'm happy to report. One slight change I did notice as I switched between the 2 styles is the camera has changed very slightly. It's been pulled back a tiny amount. It's also been raised just slightly so we can see more of what is immediately ahead of us. This is a welcome change for me personally, as it made some of the platforming a little bit easier to navigate, as you have to be right at the lip of a ledge to get the desired results. I'm also happy to say that some of the hidden tricks are still in here, and again, I only played the first level, then I put it down and put this video together, but I was still able to do a handstand as I pulled myself up a ledge, and I like that. It was a small thing, but it played into Lara's confidence in her abilities. I also seem to remember you were able to dive into water, but I'm not sure if that was maybe post the original trilogy, but I've not reached an area yet that I can try it out. These beautiful and new visuals then are also accompanied by what has so far been a rock-solid 60 FPS, except for a slight stall and drop as you do switch between them, and then it quickly recovers. Regarding the rest of the package, and it's exactly as you remember, and what I mean by that is you need to save frequently and manually because it is bloody difficult. The first level of each of these 3 games, it's harder than some endgame levels by today's standards. Underwater sequences that confuse, mud that will kill you in seconds if you walk too far, and then the opening of the third game is epic as you slide down a hill and just boulders, spikes, arrows are all out to end you. There's not even really a tutorial. I was jumping into the menus to learn the controls, which admittedly that menu's a little clunky to navigate by today's standards, but again it is exactly as it was. I also can't quite work out the version of the games they are using here for this build, as I believe I'm seeing save crystals, which I think was exclusive to a specific build of the game if I do remember right, but this one gives you the option to save freely. Then, while I haven't checked out the rest of the package, it includes the full games. They are not split into 3 tiles on your home screen. It's a rotational menu once you are in-game to jump between, and then they also include an option to jump in and explore the manor too. It also includes on top of this the DLC for each game, that's Unfinished Business for the original entry, Golden Mask for the second game, and the last artifact for the third entry. So all great so far, exactly what you want to hear, but have I seen any problems? And a couple from these opening moments. First of all, the visuals, as I said, they look great, and there's some additional effects even that I really appreciate, such as weather. We can see rain and snow, we can see water dripping from Lara as she pulls herself out of water. It just helps to modernize things even further. However, on the third game's first level, you can see the mud moving with the original visual style. It kind of warned you to be careful as you sink into this quick. With the new graphics, it's now harder to tell because it doesn't move, making it look like a perfectly traversable landscape. I learned this the hard way because I'd completely forgotten, and jumped over to my demise. Again though, that's the only visual issue I've picked up on with the limited time I had with the game this far, and yeah, I'd say overall incredibly impressed except for this minor thing. Then the controls. We have the original tank controls, but this surprised me, they are actually the preset. Alongside this though, in the options you can find a modernized new control scheme, meaning you have that dual stick movement, but I will say here, I'm finding it tough to get to grips with. The first level of the second game took me about 20 minutes, and the reason why, it's got an awkward first diagonal jump, and I just kept running off the edge over and over. I actually had to switch over to the original tank controls to succeed. Now I'm hoping with some time I can get used to it, but I think I've identified the issue, and that is some of this platforming is incredibly tight. The jump's never been the most responsive, and it's clear that the design overall, it was done around the idea of rotating Lara on the spot. So you basically step up to a ledge, rotate to where you need to be, and then jump. With modern controls, you can't turn on the spot anymore, which doesn't work particularly well in these first moments of the level, because you can't face where you need to be. It's kind of a running jump situation. I need more time with the game to get to the bottom of this, but I suspect I'll be playing this one with the original controls, meaning the tank controls, and it seems this may have been the preset for a reason. Outside of this, the other challenges I'm seeing were kind of true to the original then. Combat is particularly difficult as enemies are not only bullet sponges, but it's really tough to avoid them, and occasionally, as you would expect, given some of the tight confines we find ourselves in, the camera can get a little wild. Especially true as well during a sprint away from a boulder moment. That said though, as I guess awkward as it was, talk about an awesome video game moment that I was really happy to revisit. So yeah, I just wanted to give this brief performance preview after the first level of each. I'll say things like the music so far, once again, it is still epic. And if it maintains this performance throughout, we could be onto a good thing. It also looks great. I just need to now go deeper to see what is happening with the controls and whether it's something you need to get used to or it simply doesn't really work with the design of the game. The latter may be the case, and that's understandable. It was never built with that style in mind. Now, I will have a better update in a few days with my final thoughts, where I can of course go into more details on this. So will you be grabbing Tomb Raider 1 through 3 Remastered? Because I feel like this has been a long time coming for so many, and it's exciting to finally see it arriving. I know one thing about this though, I'm going to be jumping back in immediately now, and hopefully, as I say, I've got good things to report come launch. So with that, hit subscribe, join us here for reviews, deals, news and lists daily, and I'll see you all on the next video. Thanks everyone.